I'm working out, I'm like lifting, because just watching her on the mound, it reminds me of me. And then when I'm working out, I'm like going back and forth just like she does on the mound. And I'm like, she is me and I am her. And that's the thing, when you're around people that have been through a lot of trauma, or certain families that are very hard on their children, or don't really necessarily love them unconditionally, or nothing is ever really good enough, or you're always in that constant need for praise or attention, or just the recognition of love, or just your mom or dad telling you that they loved you. You know, so if you grow up in a family like that, you become somebody like me. You become somebody like Jordy Ball. And I'm sure there's plenty of you out there like that. I find the best thing for that is IFS therapy and Gabor Mate. I always talk about IFS therapy on here. IFS therapy, Gabor Mate, Alice Miller, Susan David, and then Brene Brown. You know, and those are my top 5. And then you could dabble into, you know, Lao Tzu, Krishnamurti, you know, all the spiritual humans. But it's really important to find out what your trauma is, where your trauma came from. Was it in the womb? Was it when you were 2, 3, 4? Was it a specific event? Was it many events where you were emotionally neglected, where you were emotionally picked on, where you were emotionally beat up, where you were always put down, where you were never good enough? What is the T traumas? Are they little, big? You know, what is it? And then after you find out who you are, where those traumas were throughout your life, and I'm not saying you, I'm just saying as a person, your history as a person, where did your traumas come from? Figure it out. IFS therapy, Gabor Mate, Alice Miller, Susan David. And then if you really geek out on those 4, you'll be like, oh, wow, I feel so much better about my life. And I'm also more present. And I don't need the TV as much. I don't need these drugs as much. I don't need this alcohol as much. I don't need all these relationships with hurtful people as much. I actually feel just okay being with me, just sitting here in the field by myself. And that's another one. You can't say by myself. That's another PC thing. So when I see somebody like Jordy Ball, I'm like, oh gosh, man, that's the thing. That's me. And when you see somebody that is you, you tend to, I don't want to say fall in love with them, but you start to tend to gravitate to them because you understand them. That's why the other day when I was making that video about how it's important for somebody who comes from suffering to I guess be I don't want to use the word doctored, but also heal with somebody that has also been through a lot of suffering. When I said in my video the other day about how a lot of us with mental illnesses, severe trauma, poverty, people who grew up in poverty, we can't relate to doctors or therapists or psychiatrists, is because in the back of our mind, we may be thinking like, this person probably grew up financially wealthy, in an unconditionally loving home. They went to grad school, they got their doctorate, they had a family that was supportive. What do they know about poverty? What do they know about the streets? What do they know about getting beat up if they leave their house? What do they know about a parent that was mentally ill or abusive or controlling or neglectful or hurtful? What do they know about any of these things? And we can't really, we just distance ourselves from those doctors, therapists, and psychiatrists most of the time. I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying, you know, as far as I go, the big reason why I wrote this book is because of that reason. I'll leave it in the comments below if you want to buy it, by the way, the ebook. But it was to help our community, the people who came from severe trauma and poverty and hurtful homes and mentally ill parents and severe depression. It's like, how do we fix that? And can we heal on our own? I believe we can. because I healed on my own. And it was because of IFS therapy, Gabor Mate, Susan David, Alice Miller, and all these other people that I listed on a video yesterday. There's 14 key people. If you study them religiously on YouTube and watch all their YouTube videos, not all of them, but the majority of their YouTube videos, you will start to be able to heal on your own. You don't need a doctor, because then you become codependent on that doctor or therapist or psychiatrist. You start to expect them to heal you, which is a very dangerous relationship. But now you're doing the healing. You're in charge of the healing process. It's all, you have the power now. You're in control of your own life now, right? So I think that's the main mission. And, you know, reading my book is terrific for family members. And I don't like to support my book. It's only $3 on Amazon, by the way. It doesn't really cost any money at all. And I made it inexpensive so like pretty much every family could buy it, because I really want if your parents care about you enough, or you think that they care about you enough, if you are going through depression, mental illness, severe trauma, or you're being picked on at school, or you don't like school, or school's really tough. School was terrible for me, man. I mean, I did not enjoy school. And a lot of that is because I didn't fit in. I mean, I was just the strange one. And I would always be throughout mood swings, and I would get angry sometimes. I mean, I was a mess. I was also an alcoholic in high school. I mean, it was rough. And I started drugs when I was very young. First time I did acid, let me not talk about this stuff, because they won't, YouTube won't post it. And I shouldn't be talking about this stuff anyways, but you know what I'm talking about. People from trauma, abusive homes, hurtful homes, we tend to gravitate towards drugs and alcohol very early in our life. And I think it's okay to speak about it. I would talk about it on here, but I also don't want to get banned from YouTube. You know what I mean? And I think maybe I talk about that in my ebook. But so what I was getting to is the fact that I think it's very important for friends and family members to read the ebook of somebody who's the ebook that I wrote for somebody who's going through depression or really hard times, because a lot of our family members and friends don't understand us. And they're always asking us what's wrong, but we don't want to tell them. So I think it's really important for family members and friends to read a book like my book, because it's the truth. And there's certain parts that are very scary, and it's just brutally truthful and honest. And that's why I wrote it, you know, for people to relate to and not feel all alone. However, if you want to heal on your own without depending on a therapist or a doctor or a psychiatrist to fix your problems every time you go visit them, every 2 weeks or every week, please get into IFS therapy, Gabor Mate, Alice Miller, Susan David, Brene Brown. They're all on YouTube. And I'll also list 14 other people below that can help heal you and make every day a little bit easier. Okay, thank you so much for everything. Take care.